Welcome back to another video, guys. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about not only a sensitive topic, but one of my favorite topics, and that is money and how your relationship with money can affect the quality of your life. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about my case and how my mindset has shifted over the past few years. But to start, I have to give a little bit of context. So growing up, I come from an average income family, meaning that I always had a place to sleep and food to eat, but we weren't taking multiple trips over the year or going out to dinner multiple times a week, just average middle class family. And financial education wasn't really a big part of my upbringing, which is pretty common. Most people don't grow up learning about money. And that's something that, in my case at least, I didn't really pay any attention to growing up. Even when I was in college, I had an idea of what money was and how it was used, but financial responsibility wasn't at the top of my list. Fast forward to when I graduate college, and then I start making a decent amount of money on my first official corporate job. I come face to face with the fact that I know nothing about money. I know nothing about how to manage because it was a big jump, right? When you're not making any money and then you get an official first 9-to-5 salary job, the increase is pretty substantial, and I had no idea what to do with it. And at the time, I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about the stock market. I didn't know anything about retirement accounts. I didn't know what to invest in and things like that. And I had to take a lot of time to read and research and learn about how I was going to manage my new income. Now, the funny thing is that when I got to this point, a lot of limiting beliefs, let's say, that maybe were not directly instilled in me growing up, but they were implicitly taught to me, they surfaced during this time. What I mean by this is that I didn't have any money, right? We said that. And I started making money, and I don't know why, but I had this fear that I had to try to be as conservative as possible and try to save as much as I could, because I didn't know how to manage it, but I also didn't know how else I was gonna make more outside of just having a job. And I'd say first year of me working like an official job, I was extremely frugal, and it didn't help that the first content that I consumed regarding financial literacy, I found myself going down the FIRE rabbit hole. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. So FIRE stands with Financial Independence, Retire Early, and it's a movement that promotes you being overly frugal and saving as much as you can, and it goes a bit deeper than that. And you can, I have my, how do I say? So it has pros and cons, and I have my reserves with that type of thinking, because I actually adhered to that for a good year, I'd say, year and a half. But I found myself not going out just to save a little bit of extra money. I found myself always looking for the cheaper options just to save a little bit of money and try to use that to max out my retirement accounts or buy an extra share or something, things like that. And that led me to miss out on a lot of things, because the reality that I know now, that I understand now, I should say, is that money is meant to be spent, not wasted. And what I was doing back then, when I was just hoarding all my money, I was preventing myself from enjoying experiences that money facilitates, and also preventing myself from growing, because at the time I used to think that my only investment options were shoving all my money into my 401k or maxing out my Roth IRA. But over time, I learned that that's money that I could have used to invest into myself, whether that be, like I said, through experiences or learning new things. Could be skills or just soft skills, whatever, getting a coach, for example. And that would have probably been a better use of that money at the time instead of just stockpiling and saving it. And it's something that I would say it's one of the biggest things that has changed over the past year. I started off with a scarcity mentality because I didn't know any better. I'm not gonna blame anyone, but just I didn't know any better. And the first pieces of information that I found, they promoted that save as much as you can, be conservative, don't take as much risks. And what I came to realize was that being a young man, a single young man, that wasn't the right approach, because I could have used that money to build myself into a better man had I had that mindset from the get-go. Now, this is not financial advice by any means, and definitely keep in mind that I am a single man living by myself. I have relatively low overhead and I don't have to take care of anyone but myself. But if you are in a similar position as me or better position, definitely avoid being so risk averse, because that is, I'd say, one of the biggest regrets that I have over the past 2 years is that I was so afraid, or I didn't trust myself enough to believe that I could recover quickly if anything bad happened, like say bad financially, or be able to get a job, that I missed out. I missed out on a lot. Having the flexibility to not have to miss out. It was a self-imposed restraint, so to speak. And you could argue that it has its benefits, because I'm not gonna lie, I managed to accumulate a decent amount following those principles, and I'd say I'm glad. Part of me does feel grateful that I did that first, and now that I've established a good foundation, that I decided to be more aggressive in my investments, especially in myself, my knowledge, my skill set, and my relationships, such as paying for network access. And now that I'm aware of it, it surprises me that what's still promoted as regular financial education is to be conservative and to avoid all forms of risk. But life is about experiences, and if you want to have experience, you have to take risk in some form. You can't hide yourself forever in your apartment and shelter yourself from life. That's not how it's going. That's not the way to live a fulfilling life. Now, I'm not saying to be careless and reckless with your money, but since I started spending more money, I felt a lot more fulfillment than back to when I was saving it all and not doing anything just for the sake of seeing a number go up in my accounts. And I understand everyone's situation is different, but once you do that, you're gonna start recognizing what type of mindset people have towards money by just the way that they talk. I'm gonna give you a quick example. So I live in Miami. There's a lot of people with a lot of money here, like real money. And it's a whole different lifestyle that you have to see to believe. But it's not uncommon for people who make what I make in a year, they make in a month. And when I tell, like, say, some of my family members something like, oh, I know X person who made 200K in 3 months, their default response, they don't even think about it, but a default response that I commonly hear is, oh, they disrespect money out there. And if you dissect this statement, implicitly, what that person is saying to himself is that he doesn't see himself as someone who can actually make that amount of money. And that's also another important part, I'd say the most important probably, in your relationship with money. It's that if you don't see yourself as someone who is capable or deserving of earning a lot of money or deserving of making a lot of money, you will never make a lot of money. And I'm not a millionaire, by the way. I will be. I have every intent of being, because I believe if you truly want to help the people you care about, you need money in this life. That's just how it is. I didn't make the rules. But some people are utterly convinced that they can never get there, and it's not their own fault entirely. It's simply they just don't know any better. So if you're a young person who still hasn't taken the time to not only learn about what money is and how it works, I highly encourage you to do, that's the first thing you should do. Start off with that. And from there, your goal should be to try to program yourself or understand at a deep level that money is a tool. Money is meant to be used, and it's meant to be used to acquire knowledge, experiences, and make you a better individual. Because over the long run, that's actually what's going to help make you more money. And the best way to start shifting your mindset towards this mentality is to start hanging around with people. It doesn't matter if it's in real life or online, that share this same mindset, that share this view of how money works and its true value. Because money by itself has no value. What has value is what you can buy with it, whether that's, like I said, time, experience, knowledge, information. That's what really makes money worth something. So I hope some of that makes sense. If something's not clear enough, or if you want me to dive deeper into anything else that I said, feel free to leave a comment, and as always, I'll get back to you, reply, and address it in a future video. Another idea I have for a future video is actually, I do plan on talking a little bit about investments, more specifically like retirement accounts, like taxable brokerage account, a little bit of crypto, but how I approach it, at least. How do I make those types of investments, but also set some money aside for the things I just talked about? If that's something that you're interested in, also feel free to comment down below, let me know. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, if you have not done so, click like and subscribe. That helps out the channel. Any questions, reach out. I'll get back to you. Hope you found value, and I'll see you in the next one.